Welcome to Body Buddies, home of the Power Foods lifestyle. Take it one meal, one workout, one day at a time. And now, here's the founder of Body Buddies, Kristy Jo.
Hi, Body Buddies. I'm Kristy Jo. I'm super happy you are here to be learning more and filling your brain with so much good stuff. We need that, don't we, in our day-to-day stuff? We got to fuel our minds. I'm always telling my clients, you got to put that stuff in, otherwise you are left to your own devices. So today we are going to hear from Scott Mulvaney, good buddy of mine, and we actually did a show on his podcast, Live the Fuel, which I will be putting a link to in the show notes. But we're going to talk mindset today. We are recording this early January 2017. A lot of people are thinking right now about their goals, resolutions, and you're going to come to find that Scott and I don't really believe in resolutions. So that'll be fun to let that roll out. But let me tell you quickly about Scott. He's a really cool guy. He's got a lot of passion and done a lot of stuff. So he fell in love with the CrossFit lifestyle as an athlete. Now he's a coach. And he did that thanks to serving as a former hotshot wildland firefighter with the U.S. Forest Service. A recent Go Rec challenger, mountain biker, road cyclist, skier, and passionate outdoors enthusiast, he's actually hiked 14,000 foot peaks while living in Colorado, does the occasional obstacle course racing, occasional skydiving, and don't forget rock or ice climbing adventures. He says, yes, there are professional balances too, including years spent coaching along with success as a sales and marketing professional. Brand development and social media consulting are his current passions, fueled by a bachelor's degree in marketing and psychology. So he is full of so much good stuff, and we just had a great time chatting. We are going to be covering a lot about mindset, about goal setting, about what it takes to pick yourself back up, about complacency. So all of those little mindset funks that you find yourself getting in, I guarantee you're going to have an aha moment as we're talking today. So just buckle up. I think you're about to learn a lot, and enjoy the conversation with Scott right after this message.
Are you sick of the low-energy, mid-afternoon crashes? Feeling a bit fluffy in your clothes? And just knowing you should be doing better with your health? Sign up today for Body Buddies 8-Week Challenge. With new groups starting every Monday, you can enroll at any time, whenever you're ready to commit to powering your body. Go at your own pace with the meal plans, workouts, mindset training, and enjoy the uplifting and supportive community in this private group. For less than $10 a week, you can get the most advanced training in lifestyle correction that you can maintain. Go to body-buddies.com to learn more today. Sign up and get a free 15-minute call with Kristy Jo to help steer you in the right direction for you. Power your body, one meal, one workout, and one day at a time with the Body Buddies 8-Week Challenge.
Welcome to the Body Buddies podcast, Scott. We're so excited to have you on here as an expert of so many things. First of all, tell us where you are calling in from.
Hey, yeah, I'm calling in from Allentown, Pennsylvania, about an hour north of Philadelphia, about an hour and a half from New York City.
Wonderful. And you are waiting on some snow, being an avid skier, right?
Oh, yes, I am. Yes, I'm definitely looking forward to anything and everything as far as snow makes me happy, so...
Great. Well, we're going to want to hear a lot about your background today. But before we dive into all that, I got to ask you the question that everybody answers when they come on my show, which is, what does it mean to power your body?
Well, since you've been on my show, I think it's important to bring in my favorite word, which is fuel. Your choice of power and how we fuel our bodies, to me, really is a copacetic combination there. It means to me that we're actually living our life more to the fullest. We're having a more balanced lifestyle, whether we're choosing how to power our bodies with the right nutrition or with the right workouts or just with the right personal pastimes and extra activities. I think it all gets enveloped up into that word of lifestyle. So that's what it means to me.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the word lifestyle, because that's what it's about. We don't want these quick fixes. We don't want these halfway dabble in something and then move on. We want to talk today about making a true change, what's entailed, and really help our listeners understand what that looks like for them. And we would love for you to share your experience with us. So why don't you start a little bit with your background and how has a fitness and healthy lifestyle become your lifestyle?
Well, I love the question because lifestyle to me is a long-term mindset, not a short-term mindset. And I think that's what a lot of maybe your listeners and even my listeners and other people out there confuse. We're going to go through maybe some short-term adventures throughout our life. And for me, my fitness, if I'm doing air quotes because we're actually on an audio-based podcast. So, but the mindset of, okay, we're making short-term decisions now that are impacting a long-term lifestyle later. So, I mean, if I rewound all the way back, yeah, I grew up, in the farming world. So I learned how to do hard work, and I did a lot of biking. I would bike everywhere to go hang out with my friends and everything else, which again, years later ended up triggering more of a fitness mindset around biking. I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't understand fitness per se. I didn't go to the gym and work out unless the gym or the high school required it. I did my attempt at trying to do school-based baseball and basketball sport programs. I didn't really click back then with that mindset. I ended up falling into martial arts and karate, so I studied that until probably I was 18 years old, and then college and just, the full-time work world distracted me. And then if I fast forward, when I started discovering fitness and really just taking care of your body better, was only because I was in and out of gyms working out, and then found skiing. I did not learn it young enough because we were too busy with the farm and stuff. I didn't go to a ski club or anything like that. But my buddies were going at Penn State. So I was like, I'm going to go take a ski class for phys ed credits for my degree. And then I was also able to take a mountain biking class. This is great. Like, I'm going to Penn State and I'm like, okay, I can take a class in mountain biking and skiing. This is cool. But thanks to those experiences, actually I can thank a crash skiing, like one of the first times I learned how to ski at 18, 19 years old, which led to a shoulder surgery. And that shoulder surgery and just the crappy way that I felt and the recovery coming out of it was brutal. Coming back from a shoulder surgery, like I had one of the worst shoulder surgeries you can get thanks to multiple dislocations. But that taught me going back to the gym, man. It's like going through the physical therapy and the recovery, and the guys teaching me, like, hey guys, they say basically, Scott, hey, if you were in more physical fit condition, even more condition, we can recover you faster. And I guess my brain, the way it was wired was I didn't like weakness, and I didn't like having to take 3 months to recover. I wanted to recover in only a month or two. So I said, God forbid this ever happens again. I want to be ready for it. So, that fast forward many years later, and that led to me becoming a spinning instructor because of my love of cycling and mountain biking, and just doing that for 5 years and getting into a little bit of the personal training. And no matter what corporate job I had, I always had a little side hustle. I always had a little side job, whether it be, again, teaching spinning or getting into ski race coaching here out on the East Coast, or eventually learning CrossFit thanks to the wildland firefighting, and then years later becoming a CrossFit coach. And that's just like I'm not a personal trainer full time. I'm one of these people who has, I have marketing passions and social media marketing nowadays in my life. But I've always had a piece of fitness tied to my life professionally, not just as a personal habit, I guess. So I hope that helps answer some of that question for you.
Sure. And so what I'm hearing here is the decision that no matter what comes your way, no matter what changes you experience in life, you're always going to keep that going in the background. And it's going to morph. It's going to change. You're not committed to one pursuit only. Like, you've expanded into CrossFit. You've done, what did you call the martial arts? I don't know those specific names. But
the style that I studied was an Okinawan, Japan-based style called Shoin-ryu, but it was like a classic karate style.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I think for our listeners, what we're wanting to share all of this today, and Scott's expertise here, is to help each of you think, how can I envelop some of these characteristics in my life? How can I adopt them? So, Scott, share with us what, in your observation, what is the difference between people who actually stick to those changes and people who don't? What are some of the hacks, if you will, of what will help these people follow through?
Well, I love hacking because I follow a lot of studies from famous people known as Tim Ferriss, Dave Asprey. These guys are all in this new little niche called biohacking, in case you've never brought that up on your show before. I haven't listened to all your episodes yet.
So I've got quite a few, Scott.
I'm basically a part-time biohacker these days, again, because I get bored and I like to challenge myself. So the mindset hack, I think, is crucial because it's the one thing, whether I'm helping somebody with their nutrition or I'm helping somebody in CrossFit, or when I spent the past 11 years working with youth athletes in the ski race world, or I'm just taking somebody out and take them on their first mountain biking ride. Like I was never really an official biking coach per se, but I love teaching people how to, embrace the biking and cycling world because it's awesome. And I think it's great for us. But the biggest thing is that people need to take the time to define their why. That is the one thing I can't decide for you. That is the one thing, Kristy, that you can't decide for people, is that this is your life. We're talking to your listeners right now. This is your life. It's not my life. Like, I don't want you to become the CrossFit coach. I don't want you to become the ski race coach. It's what do you want out of everything that you're trying to accomplish? And if I had to sum up the past 20 years of working in the fitness world in different fashions and different roles, it's like, that's it right there, man. Like, once you define your why, and it's something that's so rock solid for your mindset that your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your husband or your wife or your kids, no matter what it is, they're not going to knock you off your track. Like, we're all going to have good days and bad days. Let's be honest. And we're all going to fall off the wagon, so to speak. But it's that why that is going to basically ring inside of your head, even on the bad days. Like, no, this is why I'm doing this. And this is why I'm working with Kristy Jo, or why I'm working with Scott, or whoever we're working with. It's like, dude, that's what it is, man. You get that why, and it's so rock solid. It doesn't matter what life throws at you. That's how I look at it.
Well, and I've been asked a lot by people, what is a why? Like, they have a hard time coming up with a really compelling reason. So could we brainstorm together some ideas of why?
Oh man, I've heard a lot.
Should adopt this. Yeah, let's hear some of your ideas, and I might throw some in as well.
And I want to be honest and transparent. My why morphs. I mean, let's be honest. Like right now, like literally, I'm going to give you a great example here. Literally today, I went to a different. I'm a bit of a socialite when it comes to CrossFit gyms. I get bored and I like to bounce.
Nice.
When I travel in business, I love to just drop in other cities and check out other coaching styles and other communities, which is the CrossFit world is our community. It's not like a traditional gym. To me, I truly feel when I go to a CrossFit gym, there's a different community I'm dropping into, so I want to respect that and understand it. But one of my goals this year was, for the past 11 years, I've been coaching ski racing in the winters, so that affects my schedule. So for the first time, I'm taking this season off, and I'm focusing on more for me. And it's been a very hard decision for me to make. So what I immediately made a decision was I have to replace that time commitment. And since I mountain bike and I road bike and I do a lot of endurance training in the spring and the summers, I'm one of those what they call multi-seasonal athletes. And whereas we have all the seasons here in Pennsylvania, so I can enjoy spring, summer, fall, winter. I got it all here. That's why I have so many sports. So it's important that I continue to motivate myself and change and challenge myself. So for me, I had to do my own personal decision, say, you know what, Scott, you're not ski race coaching. And you know what? Yeah, you've been slacking on your strength training. So this morning was my first time showing up at a different CrossFit gym. It's actually where my girlfriend goes. And I actually said, I know the owner. I'm friends with him. He's already been on my show. Shout out to Rob Eschbach. I'm going to tell him about your show. And
Awesome.
I dropped in at SYR CrossFit in Allentown. And I went back into the Olympic lifting area of the gym where he trains at. And they have an Olympic lifting coach and everything else. And I said, all right, dude, I'm here to train with you, man. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10:30 a.m., he does his own programming, his own training. So when I'm local, I'm going to be dropping in there. So this week, I took this week off on like a little personal vacation time, a little hiatus. And I said, all right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm at a completely different facility, not where I normally train. I'm immersing myself into somebody else's programming, somebody else's community, somebody else's atmosphere. And it's a little scary. But at the same time, I know that with embracing change and embracing that fear, only good things can come out of that. Most people don't look at it that way. And I think that your listeners and my listeners all need to understand that. It's like, dude, when you start embracing the fear and the scary stuff, that's when change gets exciting. It gets really exciting.
Yes. Yeah, people like you and I crave that. We crave the discomfort, that feeling of, this isn't right, because we know from experience that if you push through that, all of a sudden you're going to have a whole new expanded world you live in. If you'll just push through that resistance, hang in there just a little bit longer, it'll become your new norm.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thing for a lot of people, which I understand. Another reason I think that could be very compelling for people is look at your family history. Like really look at your family history and say, if I don't do something different, I will have the same result as, parents, grandparents. I think that's a huge reason. Talk to me about your feelings of simply confidence in the way you look. Is that okay to go there?
Oh God, yeah, because I am not my family. I love my family, but the Mulvaney clan is, because we're Irish by heritage, so Scott William Mulvaney is my name, and if there's nothing more Irish than that, if you go to Ireland, which I have, it's actually pronounced Mulvaney, but it's we're a thick clan, man. I mean, there's some hardiness there. And now here in the U.S. and with my personal family, I have no problem being transparent and honest about it because I love them this much. I have to be tough with them. They can be healthier, and they aren't. And I have to be very patient, and I have to make my little positive reinforcements when I can and make my suggestions when I can, because I have, to be fair, some people say, oh, it's all about good genetics. Oh, it's all about this, it's all about that. I'm like, BS, man. All right, I'm the perfect example. I am a 6'4", 190, current as of today, 192. I usually fluctuate between 190 195 because of my lifestyle, because of what I choose to do with my nutrition and my fitness and my active lifestyle. No one in my family does that. Okay, nobody has a gym membership. Nobody does anything or anywhere near what I do, and it's okay. I've learned to accept that. For years when I was younger, it was one of my personal frustrations because I felt like I was this weirdo wanting to do more. And then when I thought, oh, well, I flipped the switch, I can just go tell them to do everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. People need to want it.
They do. And people can talk. And I know that we've all been on that side of the coin and saying, yeah, I want to make change. I want this to become a lifestyle. We're recording this just a few short days before New Year 2017. Mm-hmm. So right now, there's a lot of people who are saying, this is my year. I'm going to change. What can help people follow through this time? What is the change in mindset, change in behavior that will make a difference from where they've failed or fallen short before?
Well, and we're still on this mindset subject, and I think this is crucial. So everybody gets, I don't care who you are, everybody freaks out a little bit around the holidays, around the New Year's. I'm actually one of those anti-New Year's resolution guys because when I hear New Year's resolution, to me, it's like, I call this the bad four-letter word, diet, okay? Mm-hmm. The word diet to me symbolizes a short-term mindset versus lifestyle, which we already discussed this, okay? I hate the word diet. The word hate is a very strong word in the vocabulary, but it is something I have no problem admitting. I am very passionate about this. Around the holidays, people are like, oh, I'm going to try this diet and that diet, and this is going to be my 2017 New Year's resolution. And I'm like, no, like you must be embracing a healthy lifestyle year round. And most importantly, if you have integrated a healthy lifestyle and a commitment year round, when you have, like, I'm an NSNG guy. I live no sugars, no grains this year, hardcore. But you know what? When I showed up at my girlfriend's parents and I showed up at my own parents' house, I am not about to tell my mother I'm not going to eat her apple pie. Okay, you just don't do that. That's just not happening. All right, I'm eating mom's apple pie. Okay, it's just, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know I'm probably going to get a headache later because I'm so clean and I don't care. I was like, all right, but that's it. But here's the best part. If you've got a healthy lifestyle that's being sustained outside of that one little speed bump, that one little hiccup here and there, there's no worry. There's no stress. I never think about pounds. I threw my scale out, man. Like I don't live that way. And some people are like, oh, that's because you can. And I'm like, yes, because I built that foundation and I built that physical fortitude that has been reinforced by my mental fortitude, and everybody can do this. The most important thing that people have to do is they must commit over the long term. And I think that's what everybody is making the mistake this time of year on, is like they're worried about what happened on that one Christmas dinner, or the one, what if you're not a Christmas follower, any other holiday dinner, Hanukkah, whatever, or oh, I'm coming up on New Year's, so I'll just wait and kick it in then. And I'm like, dude, if your Christmas dinner cheats turned into 3 times that day times the next 5 days straight, well then, yeah, you got a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Right. There's so much in this I'm loving, and your energy is awesome. This is what, whenever you and I have the chance to talk, it's like, blah, 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 blah. And
yeah, sorry. I get really fired up about this.
Oh, I do too. And so for our listeners, I think what each of them need to think about is really what's the change in mindset. Because complacency in those thoughts of, yeah, I'll start when, it's a procrastination thing. Like if you only lived in the moment today and you stopped living for a time in the future you're going to, that's the change.
Yeah.
That's the change, is when we commit right now, today. So do you have any stories, Scott? I want to hear, whether it's your story or a client story, about picking yourself up when you fell off the wagon, whether it was a long-term thing, whether it was a short-term thing.
Yeah, because I'll share some personal stories. So that first shoulder surgery, because I feel, I can share anybody's story, but I love the transparency. I told you that when you came on my show, I will be completely transparent.
Right. We're all about reading real.
Back in 99 was the first shoulder surgery that I mentioned earlier. And then I was good. I mean, after that, I became obsessed with going to the gym, working out, building the strength, building up that reinforcement, knowing that my body was starting to get bulletproofed. And then again, years of mountain biking. And then in 2007, I went to go play some paintball with some coworkers at an IT company I was working for at the time. And I get a little competitive. And long story short, I was airborne, taking fire, and I was firing back and putting down suppression fire. Again, this is paintball. But anyway, I did not realize when I ran and jumped in the air to get all crazy aggressive and competitive that where I was going to end up. And I turned at the last second and realized there was a hillside where I was going to land, and I did not land properly, slammed my shoulder into the hillside and dislocated it, and tore everything that they had fixed back in 99. So this time, years later, I was smarter. I'm like, I'm going to go to the surgeon right away and get his opinion, have the scans done, whereas last time in 99, I went through 9 dislocations in a year before I listened to somebody.
Oh, wow.
So real quick there's an example of being stubborn and not willing to accept advice or professional opinion is your first mistake. Because let me tell you, if you've ever seen the old movie Lethal Weapon, where he slams his shoulder into a beam or whatever in the middle of the show to put his shoulder back in, it doesn't work. I've done it. It's not cool. But anyway, fast forward, the second shoulder surgery, I go in. And here's the meat of the story. I go in and I meet with the founder of the company. It's a big company out here called Coordinated Health. They have tons of facilities. They work with all the local colleges, and he's the founder, man. I had no idea he was the shoulder specialist either. So I'm like, sweet, I'm with the guy. And he said, guess what, Scott? We got to redo everything that we did back in 99. And I said, yeah, are you kidding me, dude? And he's like, yeah, more surgical anchors. You tore everything out again. I got to go in there all over again. He's like, it's going to be a little bit more of a struggle because there is pre-existing scar tissue. He's like, but I will say, he's like, compared to our notes back then, you really regained a lot of mobility. He's like, you weren't supposed to have almost all your mobility back. And I said, well, I don't like somebody telling me I can't do something. And then here's the answer he said. He's like, Scott, he's like, your recovery is going to be really good. And I said, well, that's interesting. That's not what you told me back. Your other doctor told me back in 99. He said, well, I could tell you take care of yourself. And I said, yeah. I said, I learned. And he said, yeah. He's like, I could tell you right now, when I work with clients or patients, if somebody is an athlete or somebody is at least conditioning their body, building strength, building mobility, whether it be yoga, it does not matter. If you are taking care of your body, it is so much easier for them to rebuild you. Now, they all said, they said, listen, I can never rebuild you the way God made you, but I can get darn close. And he said, but he's like, if you had not taken such good care of yourself, he's like, I would be telling you you'd have another 3 months of recovery again. And I could tell you, fast forward that story, I was in and out in a month and a half. I was already back into the gym a month and a half later with full mobility and doing my own strength training again. So I cut the original timeline from 8 years earlier in half. So that's one story about just, I was worried. I was like, oh my God, I tore out everything. I'm going to be shut down again. I'm going to have 3 months of recovery. And that was that pinnacle story right there. Like, I thought 99 was the pinnacle story that influenced my fitness lifestyle. In reality, yes, it got me to work out, it got me to train, it got me to start getting into other sports. But in 2007, that was the wake-up call, because it was like, dude, that is why you do all of this. And besides everything else I was doing, the fact that I can bounce back faster and better, and I've got a professional surgeon telling me he can get me back there quicker because of what I've committed to, that was just a reinforcement that I needed to hear.
Wow, and what a powerful story, knowing that can change your whole world if you focus on helping your body function the right way. You can recover better. You can protect yourself from disease, from illness. That's a huge, compelling why.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time, Scott, that you have not kind of followed through, that you've been maybe depressed or
Yes.
felt like, I just can't do this? And what was that like? And how did you pull yourself back out of that?
So I don't know if I would really call it depression. But I think depression is so rampant these days due to people's low-fat diets and the lack of the essential nutrients they need in their brains. Quick tip there to your listeners.
Please, I've been asking.
Stop your low-fat lifestyles.
Thank you. Will you say that 5 more times?
Oh, my God. There is such a thing as called healthy fats. And guess what? 80% of your brain tissue is composed of fat tissue. So if you are literally living a low-fat life, you are starving your brain. And I literally, her episode is already up on my show. I had I got to introduce her for you. There's an author I just had on my show, The Secret Life of Fat. Her book literally just came out. Her digital audiobook just came out yesterday on Audible.
Check that out.
And oh my God, just hearing the scientific research behind everything that I already knew. Yeah, I just started listening to her book. Yeah, literally yesterday. I'm loving it because it's like, oh my God, I've got bio research. She's like a PhD biochemist researcher from California. Her name is Dr. Sylvia Tara. So I just had to drop that bomb real quick for you because check her out. She's online, The Secret Life of Fat. She talks about the hormonal influence and just so many backstories, so many people's struggles. She talks about different people she's studied and researched, youth who are suffering from obesity. She talks, right now I'm in the middle of a chapter where she's talking about the sumo wrestlers and how even though they look fat, there's different kinds of fat in your body. So we could go off on a whole other episode there. But back to my struggle that you wanted to hear more about was... the wildland firefighting was a crazy life change for me. I went from corporate world and having the fitness on the side. And in 2008, I ran my first marathon. Then I ran a bunch of halves after that. And then I was really hardcore committed. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go do this wildland firefighting thing. I'm going to get out of the corporate world. I'm going to take a break. So, and at the time, and from 2006 to 2009, I was back in school on nights and weekends doing, finishing a degree at an accelerated pace on marketing and psychology. And it's funny because people are like, oh, I don't have time to do stuff. Well, I beg to differ. We can make time for anything. Going back to that that mindset, that why, like you can make time. Okay, you just got to find that why.
Exactly.
But that was a great example of where I had to really dial in my nutritional programming, my lifestyle, my fitness. I had to make sacrifices for school and classes and everything else. And luckily, I was teaching spinning at 6 o'clock in the morning, so I wasn't missing out too much. But then I left for the wildland firefighting thing. Okay, I moved to Arizona, switched my life to a minimalist lifestyle. And I didn't realize that I started basically doing whatever the firefighter world told me to do. I actually released myself from a lot of my healthy practices and was just doing, because I was like, okay, I'm immersed in another culture, a world of life-saving professionals. I should just do what they do. And there was part of my first mistake. Just because I'm surrounded by, what I feel are world-class wildland firefighting heroes that I was learning from, does not mean they know anything about health and nutrition.
Right.
So 6 months serving as a hot shot, you do 16-hour shifts on the fire line. You're instructed to consume 7,000 to 10,000 calories a day as a sawyer. I was a chainsaw operator, so the chainsaw operators were the first guys in. You go in, punching the first, breaking it wide open, creating the fire break, and then the rest of your crew, which are basically the digging horsepower, are coming up behind you. cleaning up the mess you made with the chainsaw, and then creating and digging that fire break down the sediment soil. And my rookie year, I was a digger. By the end of the rookie year, I was a sawyer. And then obviously year 2, I was pretty much a sawyer full time. So you basically, depending if you're a digger, it was 5,000 to 7,000 calories. And again, this is when I used to count calories. I mean, to be fair, we didn't count, dude. We just stuffed food in our pockets. And then while you're hiking and your one arm is holding onto the chainsaw on top of your shoulder, you're reaching down in your cargo pocket and pulling out a Cliff Bar. Like, that was my nutrition while I hiked. And so fast forward that story, by the end of the 6 months, and by October, your body has got so much accumulated exhaustion. It's got so much physical beatdown. Many guys that I fought with would suffer from major weight loss, because some of these guys would purposely come in. We were actually instructed by the superintendent the second year. He's like, Scott, I'm worried about you this year. I'm like, why? I came back from my second year. He's like, you're too lean. He's like, I like to see you guys come in about 5 to 10 pounds heavy. And I'm like, that can't be a good recommendation. I was like, well, I'm sorry. I ran in a 200-mile Ragnar relay this summer in Phoenix, and I ran a couple halves. So yeah, my bad. I'm a little lean.
Yeah.
But I was fit. So
right.
But I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And then at the end of that first year, and again the second year, I was physically beat down. I took the month off to recover. I went and backpacked Ireland for about 8 or 9 days. Came back, and the energy levels were still not back. And that's when I had gone to a personal training event in Boston. I had already had an event booked. I was doing some CEU credits for my spinning cert and personal training, and I took a class on toxicology of the body. And that's what got me into what I didn't realize, now a commitment 6 years later to doing regular cleansing and detoxing and cellular level detoxing. And it awakened my body again. Like after my first 30-day cycle, where I basically went through that whole nutritional regimen to do this, it was like, boom, energy came back after 2 weeks. But I want to rewind a little bit here. Until I chose to commit to that program and go through that experience that I had never gone through before. Remember that fear of, I'm going to try something I've never done before, like cleansing. I'm like, what the hell is cleansing? Like, what is detoxing? I'm like, what am I getting myself into? I wanted nothing to do with it. I delayed it. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the research. And my body, I hated it, man. Like I wasn't obese. I wasn't fat. I was inflamed. Okay. If that makes any sense. I was stressed.
Totally.
I was tired. My workouts were poor. My energy levels were in the tank. My body was not rebounding. And now years later, after much study and after going through regular cleansing and detoxes and stuff, I've realized that, oh my God, my body was just full of toxicity, whether it be the actual toxins from my own body of going through that much stress, the smoke I was breathing in, the really crappy food that the fire camps fed you,
wow,
the poor nutrition regimen. And so that was like my next big wake up call. I went from like big wake up call earlier in our conversation on fitness, and then the biggest wake up call, which was, wow, nutrition and sleep and proper recovery means so much. And if you don't do them, you can build accumulated exhaustion, and bouncing back from that is very hard to do. And that was
absolutely
that was terrible to me.
So with all this toxicology and the things you've learned about detoxing your body, can you give us a few simple tips of ways that you keep your body day to day right now free from this? What are some of those just very basic checklist items?
Well, yeah, I mean, so funny because like I'm starting this whole biohacker world too. Now I experiment with intermittent fasting and not just full blown 48-hour fasts, which I still do. I actually, as soon as New Year's hits, I'll be hitting my normal regular quarterly. Once a quarter, I do a big detox cycle where I actually give myself a full 48-hour fast. And people are like, oh my God, you're going to lose muscle. And I said, actually, no, you're not. I would not do it if I was going to worry about losing muscle. Muscle is very important to me.
You worked too hard to get it.
Exactly. Like there's no way I'm going to sacrifice my muscle. I was like, what I'm doing is what I've learned thanks to the nutrition company I work with that taught me this. It was like, oh, okay, it's actually good for your body to give your organs some time off. Whether you're doing intermittent fasting where maybe you don't, and this is still, I think, a newer subject. It's still being talked a lot about online and what's the right way and wrong way to do it. And there's days where, like earlier in the week, just to kind of get warmed up for it, I didn't eat until 11 o'clock a couple of days, and then I tried a 2 o'clock window. But I started the day with what's called a bulletproof coffee. Some of your listeners may have heard of it, but it's something from the Dave Asprey guy. He's Mr. Bulletproof Exec. He's got his own podcast and best-selling book and everything else, but he's one who created fatty coffee, where you put coconut oil and grass-fed butter and you blend it up in a coffee. No sugar, none of that crap added in there. You're just putting good, healthy fats in your coffee, and you drink them.
Yep.
But that's something new that I've been experimenting with. So I don't do that every single day of my life. But I love a good bulletproof coffee now, because and again, the first time I did it, it was weird. I was afraid. I was like, am I really going to like this? But again, you have to, what I tell people all the time is, like, there's this old slogan of you can't knock it till you try it.
Sure.
Oh my God, that's what we all should be doing when it comes to our health and wellness. Like, anytime someone tells you something, even if it sounds a little crazy, to be fair, there's a lot of things, but just at least be open enough to look into it. Maybe not do it right away, because maybe it's a really bad idea. I don't know, because I've heard some bad fitness tips. But
there are some out there.
But I mean, my lifestyle right now is actually not rocket science. I mean, yes, I do. I'm a shake guy. I take my nutritional shakes every day because I've been using that nutrition company's shakes for, God, since 2010. Or no, really, yeah. When I found that cleansing program going into 2011, I've been taking them ever since. So because thanks to growing up in farming, I know that our food is, there is issues with nutrient deficiency. There's not as much nutrient density in our food. So, like, basic nutrition 101 is you got to eat clean, you got to eat whole, stop eating the manufactured crap, okay? Yep. People say, oh, well, I'm always on the go. I don't have time to meal prep. BS, okay? I have a lot of stuff going on in my life, and if I want to meal prep, I'm going to take an hour out of my day on a Sunday night, fill the whole grill with chicken and grill a bunch of chicken breasts. Guess what, people? It's winter here, and I grill year-round. I grilled some steaks out there tonight. So I don't care if it's 32 degrees out. I actually look forward to it. I find it quite refreshing.
Yeah, you make it happen.
Exactly.
And it's part of that choice. It's that mindset of, come what may, I'm not going to let outside circumstances or anything impact my desire to cover my body.
Yeah. I mean, I could easily sit down, or here's the funny thing. People take the time to go to the grocery store, and instead of sticking to the perimeter, it's one of my basic lessons is like, guys, guess what? All the clean, healthy, fresh food is on the perimeter. All the stuff full of preservatives is in the aisles. So it's very rare you're going to see me going down an aisle, except nowadays some of the grocery stores out here, they have like the healthy aisle, or they think is the healthy aisle.
They think.
But,
Right.
Everything's organic. I'm like, okay, just because it says it's organic doesn't mean it's perfect. Look at the
carbs and sugar.
Look at the sugar. Not even carbs. Honestly, like, I'm not even going to get onto the carb kick for your listeners. Let's just talk about sugar. That is the biggest culprit, okay? My lifestyle, for example, I eat lots of rich, clean vegetables. Why? Because there's actually, your essential sugars are in your vegetables. So part of my NSNG lifestyle goal this year was I wanted to see if I could even survive without fruit sugars. Guess what? You can.
Wow.
Because I had so much sugar from my natural, rich, green, leafy vegetables that I didn't miss any performance gains. I was fine. All right. So some people are like, oh, I got to have my fruit. I'm like, well, yeah, because you're still addicted to it.
Exactly. Yep. I'm a huge believer in cutting fruit down to at least half a cup a day or nothing.
Yeah,
so
because
I'm a huge advocate of that.
Your body doesn't know the difference. And again, this isn't me speaking. This is from me studying all these PhDs and all these people out there, and that's why I love sharing their content. And this is not from a Dr. Oz type of thing. I don't even watch that dude's show. I hate it. There's some good stuff that comes on there, but I'm just not a big boob tube TV guy. But
sure.
It's not rocket science, guys. Like, obviously, if you really love bananas and strawberries, it's probably because they're higher in sugar. Let's be real. The better fruit choices are usually a wild berry, like a raspberry or blueberry. There's a lower sugar content and a higher, usually a nutrient content in there. Again, you're also based on the quality of the soil those fruits and vegetables were grown in, so you got to worry about nutrient deficiency there as well. But the point here is that if you have enough rich vegetable content in your diet, you don't need a ton of fruits. And your body, all that sees in the end, your body inside, your liver and everything else, all they see is sugar is sugar. So you have to make the conscious effort to make sure at least there's good sugar going in there and good food going in there. Because in the end, your body's still going to see sugar spike, sugar spike, sugar spike. So you got all these studies about diabetic shock and all this other stuff going on. People are worried about this, which in the end is affecting your hormonal levels. And there's for your listeners, that's the big picture here, guys. We're not trying to control calories. We're trying to fix and recalibrate your hormonal issues. The hormones is what's triggering weight gain and everything else. So if you're pumping down fruit smoothies that have like literally 3 bananas a day and like 2 cups of strawberries, because that's what you put in your two separate meal shakes that are just a giant sugar bomb.
Yes, exactly. And it feels good. I mean, and it tastes good, and people love it.
Of course it tastes good. It's full of sugar.
Healthy for myself. Exactly. But what you and I love this biohacking, I should use this word more. I'm more of I say strategist. Why not be strategic? Implement the science.
That's all it is.
Very prevalent. It's very easy to find, you guys. Why are we convincing ourselves?
But have fun with it. People think that like, oh my God, I don't want to live that way. I'm like, so my response to that is, well, what do you mean? Like, well, like, what do you eat? I'm like, I eat a lot of things. I said, I'm actually a pig. My girlfriend says I'm basically a garbage. My girlfriend calls me a garbage dump. And I was like, except there's no garbage. Like, it's just, I just consume. And it's very hard when you're eating the right amount of proteins and the right amount of rich, dense, nutrient, like fiber-rich vegetables. It's very hard to overeat. Your body literally will tell you, hey, man, I'm full. But if you're eating tons of processed sugars and manufactured grains and everything else, that's an addiction. Your brain sees the sugar and it's like, ooh, I love that. I love that high. Keep it coming. And also because there's simple sugars and simple carbs and all that it's just crap. You're never actually getting satiated. You're never getting fulfilled because you're missing all the essential fats and proteins. The fats and proteins is what actually gets you full feeling. Again, this is going back to that whole low-fat junk. Like, stop it. Like,
yeah, stop it.
That's why you could sit down and eat a whole quart of yogurt because it's low-fat yogurt. It's like you're just eating a giant creamy tub of sugar, especially if you're buying the stuff that already has the fruit in it. I'm sorry, you and I can go off on this forever.
Look at the sugar grams in that. Oh, it blows my mind.
But again, guys, I'm not trying to pick on your listeners or my listeners or anyone out there. Like, we're just trying to speak passion and truth because we're not PhDs, okay? We're people that have chosen this lifestyle and hopefully can influence a few other people along the way so you too can actually make some of the gains and some of the successes that we're also getting in our lives. And it's not going to happen overnight. That's part of this issue here is like your mindset hack is get off of the short-term mindset. This is a lifestyle. It's going to take time to build the healthy lifestyle. And I think whether we're talking about business or health or relationships or anything, we are a want it now society here in the USA. And because people are so short-term wired, they've lost all their patience and they're not capable of understanding the true definition of a long-term lifestyle because they don't have the patience. And that you literally have to put in the reps. You're going into the gym to make some curls or whatever you're working on in the gym. Dude, your mindset needs the reps. You have to build the patience.
What a fantastic way to kind of wrap this up. That we've talked on so many different things. It seems like this overall topic of the mindset strength, the decision, the commitment to a lifestyle and picking yourself back up. Scott, tell us if you could sum up everything you know. It's impossible. And so if you had 30 seconds to leave a legacy behind and then you would be gone from this earth forever, what would that 30 seconds of knowledge that you're going to share, what would that include?
Well, it's kind of the tagline behind Live the Fuel, which is my brand, which is I'm here to fuel your health, your business, your lifestyle. But underlying all of that is our body is our temple. Treat it as such, okay? Fuel it with rich mindset, with rich nutrition, rich relationships. You got to fuel it with excellence. And if you're not, you can expect very little results from that. So if you want epic results, you got to fuel it with the right stuff.
Beautifully said. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time, your expertise with us. Tell us where our listeners can find your podcast, and definitely we'll be putting the link to our discussion on your podcast in the show notes. But where can they come and find more from you if they want to reach out to you? Tell us all that info.
Well, the great thing is, since I'm a marketing guy, everything is very easy. It's just Live the Fuel, all one word. So LIVETHEFUEL. It's livethefuel.com, and I am everywhere. There's YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's Live the Fuel. It's everywhere. So it's very easy for you to find.
Awesome. Go check out Live the Fuel. Thank you, Scott. We are so excited for you to go and hit that snow. I am looking forward to seeing those pictures on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I got some brand new planks to break in, man. Those skis are getting broken in tomorrow.
Woohoo! Awesome. Well, thank you again, and have a wonderful evening.
You as well. This has been awesome.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes. You can learn more about Body Buddies and Power Foods Lifestyle by going to www.body-buddies.com, BODY-BUDDIES.com, and powerfoodslifestyle.com. That's www.POWERFOODS-lifestyle.com.
Information in this episode is provided for informational purposes and is not meant to substitute the advice provided by your own physician or other medical professional. Information and statements regarding dietary supplements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.